tapes
Okay.
and never returned them.
Rosenthal is who again?
One that argued the oral argument
for the city.
Yeah, he took out the
Corporate
oral
counsel
argument.
to the city.
Right,
Okay.
right. And as I was sitting there in court when that was happening, the oral argument with John Gubbins, who was my attorney at the time, I said, John, I said, Duff didn't say that, because he's saying up in the court, he's saying Judge Duff didn't know who made Mr. Zork sick. I said, what's going on here? You know, I said, ain't going to say nothing? And Gubbins turned around to me and says, hey, you better not say nothing, because they know you're sick, and they'll put you away. So you better just be quiet. So then I figured, hey, you know, I'm up here. I don't know who's on my side, who's against me, or what. I'll play this another day, you know. Well, just from the street savvy. You know, you can't go in there swinging. You're on their grounds. You're through. And then you have to go finding people and going and asking for the tapes so many times and transcripts. And then we got a bunch of other people asking for their tapes and writing even the court reporters now and everything. And went to Cheryl Young trying to look for the tapes. And
who's Cheryl Young?
Cheryl Young is a court reporter coordinator. And she's in charge. The tapes go through her office for all the cases, you know, like in their case and everything else. And she wouldn't come up with them. She wouldn't give them no, no, no. Everywhere you went was no, no, no. And then we started sending letters in so they could write by mail and denying them and stuff like that, you know, just so we'd have something. But it just amazes you that you can't get this record.
So you in writing and in person and on the phone repeatedly requested copies of the tapes.
Right.
Whether you had to go in person and listen to them and verify them, or if you could check out a copy per the ordering system that they already had in place.
Another funny thing to this is we're going through this court case, and I came back with my first attorney, Arnett, after I got fired Gubbins, because he wouldn't do anything. You know, he was...
Your first attorney.
Right, because he wouldn't even give the oral argument for me. He sent a guy named Lefevre in there to do the oral argument, and I think Lefevre worked in the state's attorney's office at one time under Richie Daley. And I was wondering why he's giving it. And he sat up there for his 20 minutes, and 10 or 12 of the minutes, he didn't say nothing. He couldn't even answer who the doctor was. And it was Dr. Fawcett. And this guy's a famous guy. He did Gacy and did other cases. Been on Oprah how many times, you know, and if you can't know his name, you know, I said, whoa, something's wrong up here, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out something's happening.
So this is on the appeal. You were witnessing a whole different story emerge where things that were substantially said. We have a caller on the line. By the way, for viewers interested in calling in to ask questions about some of these topics, you can call 312-738-1845. We have a caller on the line. Caller?
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing? Hello?
Hello. Great. We can hear you.
I can't hear you.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good enough. That's all that's necessary. I'm a freelance private civil and criminal defense investigator, and I'm just shocked and appalled at the system these days about how blatant the offices are getting as far as handling with evidence and discovery and just the whole system. And as attorneys, it just seems like you guys would really, you know, kind of rally the troops together to find out what the devil is going on in the justice system. I mean, we are basically being ran amok here. I mean, if anybody that's working within the system for the judicial system, and the public is watching this, I mean, what type of confidence is this supposed to give to a citizen who they expect to respect the law? I mean, anytime that you have police officers now being beat by other police officers and there's absolutely nothing being done about it, nothing. I mean, are we under attack from the judicial system, or is anybody going to do anything about it? I mean, you got state's attorneys that are just doing anything that they want to do as far as the wrongful convictions. It's nowhere in the world the Porter case could have went through intelligent, educated lawyers and not be able to realize that that whole case was a shame.
Just real quick before I turn that question over, this really is our responsibility. That's why we're here. And to start pointing fingers, yes, indeed, that's a logical knee-jerk reaction, but it's really the responsibility of the citizenry to, in a very positive, proactive, logical, rational way, to gather together ask the questions, be public, be transparent, and set the examples. I mean, I didn't intend to sit in this chair today. I'm interested in the subject, and so that's why I'm here. But go ahead.
Well, my feeling is this. I share the caller's concerns, obviously. It's my belief that the public suffers from an incredibly high level of conditioning. We want to believe in the integrity of the judicial system. Attorneys and judges are just as susceptible to that conditioning as the general population is. And in fact, I think even more so because you look to yourself first as far as how you believe that the process should be pursued, how you believe that the system should run. And if you're a person of integrity, then you believe that the system will run with integrity. Where you get into problems is where there are cases that have a tremendous amount of both dollar, emotional value, as well as value to those in power. And I think Gene's case is a perfect example of that, because what you've got is like the first case where somebody actually beat the city on a Shackman decree case, and they couldn't let emotional distress damages be assessed at the level that they were in Gene's case, and so they could not afford, from a business perspective, to let this happen, and a policy decision was made at some point by somebody, or perhaps individuals running amok within the government. Either way, in my mind, I take my oath very seriously. My oath was to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Illinois.
Okay.
We need to do that.
Thank you, Bob. We're going to ask, kind of on a segue here, we have another caller on the line, to be real brief, but I want to segue over to Robert Allen Jones, our second attorney on this panel. We have another caller on the line? Hello?
Hello, this is Frank Coconati. Hello?
How are you, Frank?
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Do you have a question, sir?
Hello?
We can hear you. Can you hear us? I don't think we have a good audio feedback there. Okay.
Coconati, I know Gene very well, Gene Zorich.
Okay.
They're doing to me what they did to him. When there's opposition, they can create anything they want. It all depends on who monitors half this stuff. Like in his case, the transcripts. In my case, it was the GPS tracker. If they build a file, you know, Gene, I worked with Gene. Gene was at work and did his work every day. But as soon as there was a problem in the mayoral race, they came after Gene.
I believe we have on the line Mr. Coconati, who served with Gene in the Transportation Department, and I think he's one of the individuals who's been very publicly vocal about the fraud and corruption in the current administration. And I think he was recently let go of his job.
Yeah, he's a good man, good kid.
Okay. We want to segue over here to Mr. Robert Allen Jones, who, as I said in the beginning of this show, is a former Department of Justice prosecutor, served during the Watergate days. He served in Vietnam as a U.S. Marine officer in the Marines, and he's currently engaged in private practice defending taxpayers against the IRS. We've got a few questions we'd like to ask him, but we'd like to just kind of connect the dots here. You're dealing with the same issues as far as the transparency questions in what you're looking at with IRS issues, correct?
I'm dealing with, and every other tax defense attorney in the country is dealing with the fact that the IRS wants to maintain its level of winning, and to do that they're willing to falsify documents, they're willing to commit forgery, they're willing to commit perjury, and in most of the contested cases there is some degree of IRS fraud. It is not corruption on a corruption for cash basis. It's more corruption as a matter of power and organizational self-maintenance so that they win, and they can't stand dissent. And in 1998, the Congress passed a tax reform act that allowed practitioners for the first time to get into the IRS computers through Freedom of Information Act requests and get to individual master files. And what is being turned up is again and again and again, the IRS falsifies documents and backdates those documents to keep the individuals from winning in court and keep the individuals from winning at an appeals level. And the problem has gotten to the point where the IRS now attacks any attorney or forensic accountant who questions them. They can't stand dissent. That's very much what I see here with Gene too. He bucked the system. Now, the big problem is the public doesn't really understand how bad it is. And the only place they're going to find out is in shows like this, things being called to the attention